Hey, I want to say good evening to my boy SK. Still got his plats. Bro, we got to talk this out, man. What's going on, man? I thought you was gonna chop this thing off.
Listen, I never said what kind of number one it was before I chop off the plaits, but you know, I'm gonna cut them soon.
It's a lie. He ain't gonna cut nothing, man. You're holding on to it, bro. But first off, bro, I'm glad we finally got this done to sit down. Because and I'll say some of the things I was saying off camera, like you really are passionate about our community and just like bettering the youth. But where did that passion start from?
Like running around, like doing a bit of the street stuff. It's like I never really had any opportunity like that. Do you know what I mean? I never really had people to tell me like go here or go there. And obviously my father passed away when I was 18 as well, and it's like I was lost and I was just like, rah, I don't even know what I want to do. I'm half enrolled, my mind state is all over the place. I'm rapping, do you get what I mean? And when I finally got myself together, it was like, rah, like I need to go back to the end because my bridges are still in the ends, and I'm like, but I need to give back. Like I need to come there and make a statement. And that's where the passion comes from, do you know what I mean? Like even my father and my mum, like they're always like people that always help out, do you know what I mean? And it's like, for me, I understand growing up how it is, like being lost, do you know what I'm saying? And that feeling, so when I look at young people today, and it may not be from like a street element, it might just be from just you in general, like with no purpose. I know how that feels. Do you know what I mean? I'm a sucker, innit? I'm a sucker for that, do you know what I mean? Which kind of gets me in trouble because then I try to help everyone, do you know what I'm saying? Because I understand that you come from nothing. I come from nothing, do you know what I'm saying? So I understand. So that's where the passion comes from. So it's like, I don't play around with that. Like, I make myself accessible like that because I understand, like, I'm no different to you, do you know what I'm saying? I treat everyone the same way I would like to be treated. So that's kind of where the passion comes from.
Hey, bro, talking about like losing it, like that, how traumatic was that? Because that's like a lot of people's fears, like to like lose a parent. And you said about being like knowing how it feels to be hopeless, but how did it actually affect you though during that time period?
You know what's mad is it affected me quite a lot because like even my mental state, like I even wanted to commit suicide. That's what's mad. Do you know what I mean? Like I told my mum about that years later. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm the oldest in my household. I've got a little brother, a little sister, and my mum. Do you know what I mean? I'm Nigerian, so it's like, for me, it was just like, shit, there's people at night, just like, this is all too much for me, and then I've got people in the ends, and then it's like, you get me? It's like, what do I even do? I don't even know what I'm doing with myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was smart, but I didn't really have good qualifications, like, from GCSEs, and, do you know what I mean? So it was like, I was lost, I won't lie, I was just lost, do you know what I mean? And it was just like, I opened up, I had like a proper real conversation with my mum, and she was telling me, try this like uni stuff, and I was like, bro, what am I gonna do at uni, bro? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? What am I gonna do at uni? But do you know what's mad about uni? That uni taught me how to understand, how to socialize with people, how to, do you know what I mean? How to apply those skills that I already had, which was from a business element. Because in school, I used to shop sweets. I had business attributes, but I didn't know how to apply that. Do you know what I mean? And
So uni gave you the context then?
yeah, it gave me that kind of context. And I think, then again, I sometimes think about what happened in, maybe if my dad didn't pass away, where would I be now? Which is kind of a sad thing to say, but it's like, that opened up my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know when you're growing up, you feel like, nothing will ever, do you know what I mean? And it's like, now I can really talk about it. It still pains me to this day, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I think about it every day, but it's like, my dad never got to see me like this. Do you get what I'm saying? And that kind of pains me, and it's like, sometimes I feel, and that's why I'm so hard on myself, because no matter what kind of success I get, everyone knows that I feel like I'm not doing enough, because my goals is different. My goals is to not only make my dad proud, but to make sure my mum and my little brother and sister are nice, and that's where it all comes from. Do you know what I mean? So it was a hard time, do you know what I mean, for me, and I didn't really grieve properly. I only started counselling last year. Do you know what I mean? So it's like...
But what made you want to start counselling?
To be honest, it was my business partner, TK, really and truly. Do you know what I mean? It's like, And I think one of my auntie as well, she was talking about counselling, because counselling, you feel like it's just gonna be a load of chatting. It's like, what do I need to, like, I'm gonna chat to you and I'm still gonna have to do what I need to do, do you know what I'm saying? But I thought, let me try it, and this was the best thing I ever tried, because it's like, for the first time I was able to speak to someone about something so personal. And now I wouldn't even be comfortable saying it on camera now, do you know what I mean, if I didn't have, shout out to my counsellor, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and it also gave me a bit of like self-awareness, and then it's a bit of like, from a self-evaluation perspective, where it's like, oh shit, like, I'm actually going through some shit, bro, like, do you know what I mean? And I didn't really understand that, do you know what I mean? So, but I got to understand that just by speaking to somebody else. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's done a lot for me, and it's made me quite a better person, I would like to believe.
Do you know, I remember that Cadet used to tell me the same thing. But what Cadet used to tell me is that sometimes after sessions, he'll feel really low, because it's like he's released, but he's understood that he's unpacking stuff, so he would always need like a couple of days afterwards. But he just said like similar stuff, like it made him a better person, because we just think, yeah, chat to the man them, or go to church, or do you get what I mean? But it's not professionally like saying this is where you are in this stage of X, Y, and Z. So I think that's a great like testimony in a way that people are checking for that. But would you now like kind of like recommend that for other people, like, even for the people that you work with?
Oh, definitely, and even like especially in the entertainment and music space, there's not enough place where you can go and speak to someone, because you go through so much. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you need that. Because you can get caught up by trying to chase the bag, or you get caught up trying to impress this artist, or trying to get this door over the line, that you forget about yourself. Do you know what I mean? You forget about looking after yourself. And I feel that is so key, because without yourself, you can't move forward. Nothing gets done.
Bro, this is bad, yeah? Now you said that, bro, do you believe that there's balance in this thing?
In terms of?
I struggle with how to balance what I'm trying to do, because I think, bro, when you're an ambitious person, you can become a slave to your ambition, because you're never present. You're a futurist. You have to live in, bro, I lied. You can't remember every day, can you? Yeah. You get me? It's a blur. It's just like, I know I have to be here. But I'm saying, like, how, like, what does balance look like for you now, being a successful manager of a successful enterprise and business? Like, how do you balance your personal life with what is required of you to be a successful entrepreneur?
I've had to learn it, really. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, exactly what you're saying is, like, I'm a slave to ambition, like, whereas I'll reach here, me, TKJ, we talk about the time, we reach here, we're thinking, people will be looking at us like, rah, this is big, that, you guys, I'm thinking, what you talk about, this is like here. Like, this is nothing, we need to get here. And then what I started to realize is why I'm always thinking of that, because I'm always thinking about my mum. I'm thinking about my mum is still in the end. Do you know what I mean? So that's where it's really coming from. It's nothing to do with even my success. It's like, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, but my mum's still at home. Do you know what I'm saying? My little brother's still, do you know what I mean? My little sister's still, like, everybody still needs to be patterned. I've got people in Niger. And it's only when I started to think, you know what? You need to live. You need to breathe. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of scary, because how I feel is like, if I breathe, I'm sliding, like I'm slipping. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing enough. Like, oh, even if I take a little 5-minute break, 10-minute break for myself, in then 10 minutes I could have read a book that could have made me £5. That's the way my brain used to operate, but not realize I'm slowly killing myself. Yeah. And what was happening is that so many things are going on at once. I'm not sleeping. I can't even operate, and my personal life is being affected. And then one of the key things that brought up is, like, obviously I love my little brother and sister. My little brother's 18, and he's I forgot that he's growing up to be a teenager. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? He wants to talk about girls, but I'm so focused about, all right, bro, what shoes do you want? Yeah. All right, that's money's pattern. Okay, this is the job you need. This is the license you need to get. I'm forgetting that sometimes he just wants to have a conversation, but if I'm not there to have a conversation, that is priceless compared to me buying it. Exactly, compared to me buying him Jordan 1s. Do you know what I'm saying? I've had to kind of take a few steps back and say, okay, I need to balance myself now. Do you know what I mean? As much as, like, I'm working hard, like, do you know what I mean? I need to take a break. Do you know what I mean? Do something that, work on myself a little bit more, because that's the only way you can elevate a bit further. So that's kind of how balance looks like to me.
And that's real, because like when we spoke today and you was like saying to me like, oh, I'm gonna go help my brother with his homework. And I thought, and to me that's just beautiful to hear. I was thinking, that's what a real brother does, you get me? Like it's the little things, but as you just said, bro, like this game puts you on a conveyor belt and you're almost like a hamster on that treadmill. Just keep going round and round and round. And I'm just picking up what you said about, bro, no matter what people think how successful we are, to move a family out of the ends, that is hundreds and hundreds of thousands spare cash. Do you get it? So it's like, it's a lot, bro, do you get me? But even now, like when you speak to you about your family, like how do they react to, does your mum actually get what you're doing? Like, does she...
Oh, my mum's Nigerian, innit? So my mum doesn't really get in it. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't really trouble my mum. It's just like, do you know what's funny? Like, I think like a couple times, like pivotal moments, like when we saw that the Torah skin in the AM, and she saw the Guardian, and she was like, "You guys are the newspaper." Do you know what I mean? I'm like, "Yeah, mum, I told you. Like, we're kind of big in what we do." Do you know what I mean? And then when Body came, she saw there was another newspaper that came out, an article. No, I think she saw it on TV. I don't know where she saw it, and she saw our names like SK and TK. She's like, "Oh my days!" And she said it in the family group chat, like, "This song is really big now." I'm like, "Mom, that's not me trying to tell you." Do you know what I mean? But I don't put pressure on my little brother and sister. Of course, they know like what's going on, but my mom just wants me to be successful. She just wants me to be happy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't really care what I do. Like, she just wants me to be happy. So it's like, when I don't really go too deep into like what I do with her. Do you know what I mean? It's just like more of like, all right, cool, mum. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. What do you kind of need? Because it's like, for me, it's like, again, I'm the oldest. I don't want to trouble my mum. Like, I don't want to make her worry in any sort of way. So I just wanted to know that, okay, I'm safe, I'm doing something I'm supposed to be doing. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And she's a prayer warrior, so she plays her part, how she plays her part. Do you get what I mean?
Bro, but also like, why did you stop rapping?
I stopped because when we were rapping to the ends, it's like, it's not rapping to make money. Like, you're just rapping to be a cool kid or whatever, to think you're a gangster or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't have a passion as being an artist. Do you know what I mean? I was rapping just for credibility or just to be aligned, associated with certain people. Do you know what I mean? I tried to even take all the YouTube videos down. Only some of them came down. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but I liked rap. I love music. Do you know what I mean? Like my playlist, like any track I'm listening to is like something that I can relate to, something that means to me. That's the only music I can actually listen to. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what kind of why I stopped rapping. I thought it's pointless. Like, I don't have the passion to be an artist. I have the passion of business, which is why I got into the business side of it, and I combined the two.
That's sick. But, and even when I look at how dominant of a force you guys have been, it's like, if you didn't understand what it's like to be an artist, it helps you also to communicate to an artist's needs as well, isn't it? Because you tried it, innit? Do you get me? Do you get what I mean? So it's like, but when does it go into management for you? Like, when does that management thinking, yo, do you know what? Who's the first person you actually managed though?
You know what's mad? It's like, so like after uni, I created a company called Finesse Entertainment. Yeah, and then, because obviously I was like, people from my ends were blowing up, like Stormzy, Ghetto Superstars era, like Bully and Young Reeks and that. Yeah. I was like, right, Hardy, do you know what I mean? I know Hardy since a kid, like, it's like, these men are doing things, innit? I need to be in tune, but from a business acumen. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't really understand them as much. So I was like, you know what? I have a bit of money, let me start up. Before to be my own company. I did it with my former business partner, which we kind of separated ways because we didn't see eye to eye. And I was just like, see me, I don't have pride in it. I will go and watch another man, whether they're younger than me or whatever, if they're doing well. Do you know what I mean? I watch documentaries. Do you know what I mean? I watch, like, see people's interviews, read a few books. Do you know what I mean? And I remember when TK hit me up, because TK used to record me when I was rapping, which is mad. Do you know what I mean? We went to the same school. And I was like, you know, are you lot still doing this Wonderful Forever KSL thing? And he was like, yeah. And I already knew he had the knowledge because he used to record me. He was an engineer at that point, but he's not an engineer now. And he was like, and then we just, you know, came together, so I could call this create Finesse Forever. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, from them times there, I was like, oh my days, like, you know, this is something big. And then there was a kid that I saw on Grandland called IQ. And what touched me about him was that he's, like I said, I'm a sucker in it. It's like his story about he lost his 2 friends. I was like, bro, I want to help this kid. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I want to have success with this guy as well. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't really know much about managing because I thought, okay, this is just like a big brother thing and you handle admin. And then as you go along, you start to realize it's way more than you actually think. Like, it's not just about the email and the bio. Like, there's a lot of tasks and there's a lot of day-to-day, there's a lot of responsibilities that you have to take. And IQ was the first artist that I ever had. Do you know what I mean? And he just came off the back of like losing 2 friends. So it was like, for me, it was like, you know, this is a young boy. I need to make sure I have him at all costs. I made a few mistakes, and I'm happy that I managed him at that point because it made me grow as a better manager. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's how I kind of got into managing.
Well, if you can share them, what kind of mistakes do you think you made at that?
Mistakes is like one that the way you do things is not the way the artists do things. Like, you have to understand that, like, and you need to understand. As a manager, like, I used to think, okay, you know what, sometimes it could be business, business, business. It can't just be business, business, business. Like, you have to have a personal relationship because if that artist's personal life is not straightforward, they can't perform. They can't go to the studio. They can't, do you know what I mean? And I can be a harsh person. I have to understand, oh, you know what? You can't just do this that way because he may like to do it a different way. You need to understand your artist. Do you get what I mean? And it kind of tests your patience gets tested. Your patience gets tested. Do you know what I mean? You start thinking, right, am I a good manager? Why is this guy not listening or this and that? Do you know what I mean? But then it makes you understand the role that you're in. Do you know what I mean? And I'm happy. It's good to make mistakes because you learn from them as long as you learn from them. Do you know what I mean? And also I feel like just understanding like how creatives are. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, when I was rapping, like, you rapping on like Stimpy and Screwface instrument, it's like recording on Sony Ericsson's, it wasn't really anything, do you know what I'm saying? But like, understanding like, raw, this is like a whole different world. Do you know what I mean? Like, this guy's career is in your hands. Like, there's a certain way you got to do this. You got to put the artist first. Like, when you wake up, it's the artist. Do you know what I mean? And it's for you to kind of understand that and how you're going to facilitate that with your own life. It's hard. Do you know what I mean? When you're just doing it straight away and you're doing it as a roller coaster, that's like you're riding along. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of how the mistakes I've had and kind of how I had to learn.
Do you, as of now, do you enjoy management?
Yeah, I enjoy management, you know, to an extent. Like, I've been managing for like a number of years now. It's just like, I enjoy it because I know how to do it. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy like working with different artists, but sometimes it can get tiring. But then it's the life I chose. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Give it, because you're now a high-end manager, right? Where you're dealing with label bosses, big brands. Like, what is it now? Like, what are you dealing with as a manager? Because a lot of people don't get to this level of managerial success. So how does your days look like for you?
Sleepless nights. Do you know what I mean? My days is like, when I wake up, you know, I check on my artists usually. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the system you create around your artists. Like, I like to create, like, every artist I work with, there's an ecosystem around them. Like, what works for them. So it's like, it could be like from their producer to their hairdresser to whatever. When I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is, after prayers, after gym, check all the emails. Make sure your artist is alive. Do you know what I mean? And then from then, you know, you've got your tasks going on throughout the day. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, what I always tell people as managing is like, people feel like you can just wake up you can't just wake up and be a manager because you have to sacrifice so much. Like, if Russ was to call me right now, I've got to stop this interview because it could be really important. Do you get what I mean? Like, if, I don't know, even if it's the smaller artists like SYM or Mini Monts calls me right now, or Skendo calls me right now, you don't know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? You have to put that aside and handle that situation, and you have to handle it efficiently. Do you know what I mean? And some people are not ready for that sacrifice, but you have to be prepared for it because it's harder when they're nobody. When there's somebody, it's even worse. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like Yeah, that's kind of what my day consists of, really, day to day.
This may sound a bit left field. Do you think it affects just even actual relationships in general, like with like girlfriends or like just?
Oh, 100%.
You gotta speak to that because I've got my own point of view, but I need to hear what your take. How you?
100%, because some people don't understand, especially for me, because like I'm from an entrepreneurial background as well. It's like I don't just do managing as well. It's just like some people will not believe that I'm busy until when you ring me. When you ring me, do you know what I mean? And it's kind of affected. It's kind of affecting me sometimes with women and stuff like that. But I feel it's kind of been good as well because it's kind of like helped me focus. Where it's like, okay, cool. I don't need to worry about that. Let me just focus on what I need to do. Do you know what I mean? But it is because people don't understand. They think like you're airing them. Until I say, hang around with me for one day and see how. And you're checking your phone. Do you know what I mean? But you have to also learn that sometimes you got to put that, which I didn't quite learn, innit? Like, do you know what I mean? Like some girls that I was seeing in the early days of managing, I'd be like, you listen, you don't understand, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? But really, that's not the way to do it. Where you should have some time for them, like your personal life, and then, you know, but it's all about the structure. I mean, where my thing was a structure, it was just like business 24/7. So yeah, it's kind of affected it in that way.
Yeah, and I think there's that thing where a lot of people that say they're busy, artificial busy, and then when you're really busy, it's like, yo, listen, I can only come check you for like 20 minutes, you know. And you're like, bro, like, what, 20 minutes? I'm like, nah, for real. But this is the fun thing I realized, bro. I started finding myself just talking about work. Like, I was like, I don't know who I am anymore, bro. Do you get me? Because it's like, my only day is like work. But I forgot my brethrens. Forgot what my hobbies are. Because I think that this whole thing as being a manager, being an entrepreneur is consuming, bro. It will consume you. Do you get me? Like, but now that you put structures in place, is it still like that? Do you still, how is it now though?
No, now it's way more easy because everything's systemized. So we've systemized everything from the company structure to the managerial structure. And I wish that I had done a lot of these things sooner. Even our business partners, we wish that we had done a lot of these things sooner. But it's a learning curve. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, because I can't be a manager forever. Do you know what I mean? As much as I love it, I love the game and I love the hustle, I'm gonna want to have kids one day. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna want to retire and just sit on the beach and, do you know what I mean? Just look after my kids and just for my mum and for my little brother. Do you know what I mean? You can't be in it forever. So you have to create a system that allows you to do that. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to put a stop and say, you know what? It's the line. Do you get what I mean? There was a time when we were managing like 9 artists and 8 producers. That's a lot of mouths to feed. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, but because like what ties up into it, one aspect is that, okay, we want to help this person because of their story. At the same time, we want success. And at the same time, we need to eat ourselves. And then you get so clouded and you figure, oh shit, how is this even gonna run? Do you know what I mean? You're going along with it. Before you know it, one artist is unhappy. This person, do you know what I mean? Then now we've kind of restructured and from, okay, you know what, we need proper systems. And you have to kind of learn that as you go along and you have to keep changing it until it fits how you want it to work.
I mean, they'll tell you that create systems, not necessarily people, and that's how things always work. But what I was gonna say to you, so with this whole, I don't think it's a conversational piece anymore, but people's perception of drill. Where do you think the stigma of the cultural, I won't say people culturally inept, but like people just see it as just, it's all bad. Like, where do you think that stems from, and why do you think people still try and stick it onto all the artists?
Again, like, cause I said this in the ZZ Mills thing, and what kind of frustrates me is that everything's of influence. Drill, somebody carrying a knife, films, music, everything can influence violence, but it's not the root cause. And my thing is that people rather point the finger than help man mend the finger. And by that, it's like, for me, like, I will look at a drill artist, yeah? He could be talking about the maddest things on camera, like, it could be, because there's all types of different drill artists. Like, you could be talking about, but the ones that really spit their pain, like, you know what, I was on the block, and for me, I'm thinking, bro, you're 15 and you're on the block doing that. What the hell are you doing there? Do you know what I mean? So I will reach out to them and be like, yo, bro, what are you doing? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, You got good bars, you got good metaphors. All right, come to the studio. Do you know what I mean? I won't try and demonize them and say, oh, you're just a street. Nah, because I understand them. Do you know what I mean? You can't, it's like what I said, you can easily tell a man that has a strap, you can take it away from him. He's just gonna buy a new one tomorrow, man. You got to change his mentality and his environment. And that's what I tend to do. And a lot of people it's just something that you don't understand. Like, I don't understand rock music. To me, or heavy metal, it just sounds like shouting.
You don't speak on it, then?
Yeah, I don't speak on it. Do you know what I mean? And what is, I think it's just an easy get out. It's an easy way to just demonize us black people, especially. Do you know what I mean? And the young youth, like, oh yeah, it's drill, blame drill. But when you look at a lot of these murders, a lot of these people that just say drill, do you go and find out why a man's murdered? Do you go and find out why a man's banging? No, you don't, because you don't care. So why are you talking about it? Like, that's what frustrates me the most. It's like, if you're gonna talk about it, go and do something about it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, our black guys are getting murdered at young. All right, cool. So what are we doing about it then? What do you have in place? Some people are, but a lot of people are just talking and they want to blame a music genre where it could be my man doesn't even have a father or mother figure at home. It could be my man's arguing with somebody and they just don't like each other, what they're wearing. Like, it could be the smallest of things, but because you don't understand something, you don't understand the environment, you don't understand where they're from, you're quick to blame whatever you see everywhere else. And what's kind of annoying is that it makes a lot of people sheep because they're the news will put, like right now, if I was to bang you in the face right now and the news presenter was there, they will write drill manager. They won't write SK. They'll write drill manager bangs Amaru Don TV in the face. This guy is of the most violent, vicious criminal. But people that know me will tell you I'm not a violent person. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like.
So, bro, just picking up on that then, how did you feel when when, we'll get to Body, but when Body was doing well and the press was still having a go at it?
Yeah, I knew it was coming though. I knew it was coming. I wasn't, they say all press is good press, you know what I mean? And you don't pay attention to it because you know what you do. That's why you have to stay on point. Do you get me? You have to be professional at the right time. Do you know what I mean? My artists, they're professional. Do you know what I mean? Like, us as managers, we're professional. So it's like, you don't entertain it. Let them do what you want. When you start engaging with them and you try to go to war with them, which is what I had to learn, is like, you don't win. You don't win that way. How you beat them is going number one. Because it's still on radio, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're laughing in their face and they can't do anything about it, and that's the beauty of it. But you have to appreciate us now.
Do you know, how did Russ take to it? Is he kind of numb to it, or how does he feel when he starts seeing negative things about his music?
Russ, how he takes it to now, like, what's so good about Russ, I've seen his journey from when he just had picky hair in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, what he thinks now today, now it's like, he's so focused about making his family proud and just being the best. Like, because of the Michael Jackson, the drill. The artist he's even relating to is the greatest performer of all time for what they demonize as just street music. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like his ambitions go higher than even the genre itself. So how he sees it doesn't matter what is thrown at him. He's just like, okay, you know what? Yeah, you might not like it, but I've got people that do, and I'm gonna prove to you what my music's about. I'm gonna show you. And that kind of motivates me even more to go hard for him. Do you know what I mean? As a manager, because it's like, oh, raw, you're going hard. I need to go even harder. Do you know what I mean? So.
Tell me, do you remember how you first met Russ? Like,
how I met Russ was, it's a funny one how I met Russ, you know. He was cool. Him and Taze, I met them at the same time. They're from an area called Penge. They were from an area called Penge. And I saw their music online, and I was like, oh, these guys are kind of hard. But they look like, as everyone says, people say, oh, these guys are gonna stab you up and all this crap. Do you know what I mean? But nah, I see, you know what, I'm a sucker, like I said, I'm just a sucker to help people, do you know what I mean? And when I phoned Russ, because Russ is also, at them times, he used to be just a apparel person, he'd be like, who's this? No, you're Bookie, man, you're Bookie, I'm not linking you. And I think because at the time, I was managing someone that he wasn't really cool with. So, do you know what I mean? But I came to link them. I came to link them in Penge. I went to their studio.
pulled up?
Yeah, I pulled up. Do you know what I mean? I pulled up. Do you know what I mean? I gave Russ his first ever pound in music. First ever pound. Do you know what I mean? And I showed him my loyalty, like, bro, like, I'm here to help you, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? A lot of these young people, I'm here to help. Sometimes they don't understand it straight away, and I get it. Do you get what I mean? But I make them understand. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's how I met him.
What was the vibe when you first actually?
Oh, when I first met him, it's like studio vibe. Yeah, Mr. Watts' studio in Penge. Do you know what I mean? It was just good vibes, like explaining what I do. Do you know what I mean? He knew a little bit about me. He didn't really understand. Them times he had no knowledge about music. Do you get what I mean? Like now he has like a lot of knowledge, and it was just like. But for me, what's kind of sad is that, rah, this guy's got talent. He doesn't even know how far he can really, really go. I could see it from early. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just couldn't see, he could just see, he just thought, you know what, I'm on the streets. I'm rapping. If I make money, I do. If I don't, I don't. And that's kind of sad to think like that. And I used to always encourage him like, don't do this, don't do that, don't bang out. Do you know what I mean? But it's a learning thing, which he's had his own journey that he's learned. Do you know what I mean? So the vibe with him at Verse was just normal, man.
When he was going through a lot of his situations with his first label deal, like were you still around at that time?
Yeah, I still run out.
How was it like seeing him getting jammed up like that though? Because it was.
Like, I did tell him, innit? Do you know what I mean? But do you know what I mean? But it's like, at the end of the day.
Did you see it coming?
To be honest, I wouldn't say I saw it coming because I didn't see it going like to where it's gone, but I did see like people trying to take advantage, and I've always warned him like from the get-go. He would tell you like, bro, be careful, bro. When you're popping, everyone gonna be smiling in your face. You gotta look after yourself, but unfortunately for a lot of like the young artists, people just take advantage of them, which is so frustrating. Do you know what I mean? But Russ is like, he's a man that he learns from his mistakes anyway. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, them times I wasn't his manager, I was advised. I remember when, it was funny, like, I remember when he had, he done, I think, Gunlean, or he done the Irish tune, and I think Relentless was phoning him. And he got email, he couldn't believe that he was even getting emails from labels. And he called me, he's like, is this real? I'm like, yes, it's real, Russ. Like, do you know what I mean? But for me, that makes me happy, like, you know what I mean? Like right, he's slowly going into that professional world. Like, he's started to understand, like, you know, there's a certain way you have to deal with things now. There's, like, people are paying attention to you as an artist. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, like, I was always advising him there as a big bro. That's how it is, like. Do you know what I mean? Like, he'll phone me, we'll argue. Do you know what I mean? But I'll always tell him what I feel was best for him. But it's always his decision, not mine. Do you get what I mean? So that's the kind of approach that I've always had to it.
Bro, like I said, okay, so let me set up the Body track. Body is our biggest, it's the biggest number one we've ever had in our culture, right? Like from black. I mean, let's say street music, because I'm sure someone may find another black artist who's made a song that may perform well, but in our generation, no song's performed statistically as well as that as a number one, right? Walk me through how that whole, because I'm not familiar with how the whole song went together, like who produced it, how, did it start with Tion, did it start with Russ? Because I've seen like Tion when he was showing like the voice notes, like obviously you was there, like how did it come together from your point?
What's mad is like, the initial team behind this was like, it's mad because it's like FF side, from the production side with Gotcha, then you have One of a Kind with Russ, me and Jules, and then you have the GDS with Tion, Terry, Nino, and Glenn. Do you know what I mean? And the creative, all props to Russ, Tion, and Gotcha, because I believe in that when it comes to the music side of things, let the artists do what they're gonna do. Like, do you know what I mean? You can add your expertise in terms of like what may sound good for radio or marketing wise, but when it comes to them, that's all props to them. Like, you can see the early videos of Tion spitting it with no words, and you know, they go studio together and they vibe and they know what they're doing.
But who makes the call for that, the sessions happen?
The beat, Russ have found the beat from Gotcha, because he's got a relationship with Gotcha, like they're basically like one, because he produces a lot of his tracks. Do you know what I mean? And from there, he then shouts Tion, and then, you know, him and Tion talk, and they go back and forth. Do you know what I mean? And they're able to create the song out of that. Do you get what I'm saying? And then what we is that initially we all planned it together. Do you know what I mean? We actually signed it independently with Tion's label. Do you know what I mean? Because we all believed in the song. We all on the phone every day, plan, okay, how is this gonna work? Everyone, who's gonna play their role in what? Because everything was in-house. We managed the producer. On the other side, co-managed Russ. Tion's co-managed by GDS. So it made sense to do it with them and believe in the record. And what's mad is that the way them guys, because me and Jules believed in the record, which is my co-business partner for Russ, is that, but the way these guys were screaming about this record was even further than we were screaming about it. And I wanted to so badly understand why. Do you know what I mean? I knew it was hard, but the way they were screaming about it, like, I remember us saying, skills, trust me, body. Tion was like, body. Like, I'm thinking, what is it that I'm missing from this song? And that's the difference between, that's the difference between artist and manager, that they just have that, they just know. Same with Gotcha, they just know what the hit really, really sounds like. Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of impressive to hear. And then, yeah, we did the record. You know, we moved the record around. No one really believed in the record at first. It's just mad. No one really believed in the record, bro, for whatever reason. And it's just.
What was the actual feedback? What were they saying when they heard the record?
No, people like, you get me? Like, we knew was it. Like, we were all rooting about. People like, not really too sure. For what reason? I'm not too sure. It's obviously now when people see it going off, everyone was like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's upstream to Atlantic and whatnot. But it's like, at the beginning, people were just like, It was really only us lot that knew was it. Like, this is gonna slap. Do you get what I mean?
Sorry, bro. Just sorry to interrupt. When you shot the video, was it still just GDS, or had Atlantic at that point already?
No, when we shot the video, when I think, because Tion was the one that, you know, he got in contact with Wawa, I think initially. When we shot the video, we believe it was still GDS. At that point, it was still like under GDS. We were still trying to do it independently. Obviously, in the end, we ended up getting upstream to Atlantic, but it was still GDS at that point when we shot the video. And the beauty of that, like, Wawa, big up Wawa, like, you know, he played his part in like helping create that transitional moment that went viral as well. So it's like a lot of the early stages were from an independent aspect, which is mad to think. And then, you know, we're all just sitting there thinking, damn, this is actually mad, like this record's actually gone to #1. But when we think about where it was first created or how every single person played their role, it's amazing.
Can I ask you, bro, like, and again, if you don't have to specify it, what point does it get upstream? Is that when it's moving in the charts? Is that when it's going viral? Because it's like, what part did the label say, okay, cool, we want to take this on?
So it's like, the track was just too mad, bro. I'll be honest, like, after, like, you know, I think Tion's label was going back and forth with, like, the majors just to solidify some things legally wise. But, like, before the track even came out, people were already doing TikToks to the bloody the trailer. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, no matter what happened, was like, it was too good to be true.
Transition.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It just went too big. Like, it was just too big, bro. Do you know what I mean? So before we knew it, like, obviously Tion signed to Atlantic or whatnot, like, the majors got behind it and then, you know, played their part on that aspect. But initially, it was just moving. It's just moving. So.
But I think part of it also shows that as a manager, you also got to have a bit of an A&R ear as well, because like the artists always believe that whatever they make can possibly go, but like to guide it, like I think the most powerful thing is like young black men and women per se get involved, and together they can create something that can dominate the charts. It didn't start from a label orientated, here's rap with him, he's hot. It was organic. Do you know what I mean? I feel that shows a lot of power, bro, between you guys, man. Like, and how like the synergy must have been crazy though, bro. Like, just when you're seeing it, like, how do you even feel now, bro, knowing that you can manifest and collectively create something so big?
Mad, do you know what I mean? And shout out to the GDS guys. That was my first time. I've known Terry for a long time, but that was my first time working with like Tion, Terry, and Glenn. Do you know what I mean? And they showed me like how they operate as well. I learned a lot from them as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's just mad to think that we're able to create this, and it's just like, it's just more, it's like, I can't explain the happiness it is like when it's like, okay, cool, like, we've all done this together. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's played a part and together, like, it's like my producer, like, his first #1 as well, do you know what I mean? And so the thing is what, for me, why it's even more passionate for me, because this is drill. This is something I've been fighting for on Sky News, BBC News, with TK. Like, the fact that we even got the #1 in this genre they've been trying to shut down, that we've been going on news channels to prevent, it's priceless. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's amazing.
No, it's incredible, bro, because I think it gave everyone crazy hope. Like, you always need one of those types of things to just inspire a next generation, that to just overcome the obstacles. Because if you lot didn't have this #1, like, and bro, to be honest, this year's been quite quiet for the scene. Like, there hasn't been too many. In reality, Tion's basically put down most of the hits in the last 2 years. Do you get what I mean? So I think it's important. The part I wanted to ask you about is, when a song's getting so big, like, as a manager, or even, I mean, I haven't spoken to Russ, but do you even think, like, yo, we may not have this again, bro? And how do you deal with that? Like, because I know you're someone who, you're always on to the next thing and you've got ambition, but this may be a bit like a Leicester City moment.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You have the self-pressure. It's gonna come naturally as a manager. Any manager, like, in a position like this, there's people that probably got like 10, 9 numbers. When they probably got their first #1, they're probably thinking, oh, they're gonna get another one. But at the same time, it gives you that you have that motivation and you have that drive to say, you know what, we can do it again because we've done it. Do you know what I mean? But you do have that self-pressure. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of good, like, having an artist like Russ. He's already thinking about, all right, cool, I've got #1 here. How do I get another #1? Or how do I get a #1 mixtape? Or how do I get a #1 album? Do you get what I mean? And that's the kind of things I want to hear, rather than, oh, we got a #1, let's sit back. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the way I'm thinking. Because even which is kind of a bad way to be, how I think is that something may be so good, but I think about it at its worst point. Do you get what I mean? So I've got #1 now, but I think, okay, if I was to reach the next track, which I know is not going to happen anyway, what happens if we get 1 view? Have I got everything in place to facilitate it getting past 1 view? If I've got everything in place, I'm doing something right. And that's the kind of mindset I have. Because I don't try and think, okay, because we got #1, the next track is automatically going to do well, which it is. But I think, what if it's not going to do well? So you make sure you have the right things in place. And you have to have that kind of mindset. So then you're always on point. So your rollout's always good. Do you know what I mean? Your marketing structure's always good. If you don't think like that, then you're already 1 step behind, or your competition's 1 step ahead. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the kind of pressure that you got to put on yourself.
Bro, being that you're definitely someone that comes as a realist, what are some of the things that you find wrong within the music industry?
Do you know what I find wrong in the music industry? Like, okay, there's always this narrative of people saying the music industry is fake, but do you know what I don't like in the music industry is that, one, there is room for everyone to win, and just play your position. Be who you want to be. If you want to be that guy that don't want to bring no one in, cool, be that guy. But don't go and be that guy and then say that, oh, you're the guy that helps people, because you don't. One thing that frustrates me is that there's a lot of people in this industry that do help, and they don't get their flowers. Because they're not there to get their flowers, really. They're there to actually fucking help. But there's people in the industry that will be screaming, tweeting, and then when I look at it, it's like, oh, sorry, what do you do? who do you help? And that frustrates me, which is like, I don't really go to the industry events. Like, I go there and network, and do you know what I mean? When I have parties and that, it's my people, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't really mix with them as much, and more time, I actually genuinely want to help. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, for me, that is one of the most frustrating things in the industry. And what is also frustrating is like, just the way, like, you know, like this whole narrative of like people jumping on the bandwagon when it's blowing. And to be honest, to be fair, that's always gonna happen because it's business. Do you know what I mean? When something's moving, it's numbers. People need to make money, it's business. But it's like, it's just the honesty, I think, that frustrates me. Yeah, man, it's like the Black Lives Matter thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I always tell people, it's like, or the community aspect is like, don't come to me about no community because you don't do nothing. you can't talk to me about that unless you're doing something. Like, I don't need to have a conversation with you because my passion and your passion is different. And it's not even to be rude to certain people. It's just that it's okay to not help. Like, no one's forcing you. Like, you don't have to do it. But especially for us black people, what frustrates me is that on the internet, I'll see people tweet that, oh yeah, us black people, well, we need to push back. But nigga, you're in a position as a mad A&R where you can put that black music straight through than me that's an independent, but you're not doing it. So why are you talking about it? It's so confusing. And sometimes these smoke and mirrors, like people just be like, oh my days, yeah, but not realizing, bro, nothing's actually really happening. Do you get what I mean?
It's disappointing, isn't it?
It's very disappointing, and it's frustrating, and that's something that I'm trying to change, like with my company and the people I work with, and even with when I teach the younger ones, because the younger ones are the next up. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just be yourself, man. You don't have to please anyone. Do you know what I mean? I'm a person, I love to help people. Do you know what I mean? That's my weakness. I love to help people, but that's my purpose, like, to help people be the next boss. Do you know what I mean? Most of the engineers that come into our FF studio, for example, they got their own companies. They got their own studios. I don't limit them to say, oh, you got to work for me. Go and do your own thing. Tweako's got his own empire. Scratch has got his own empire. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like if there was more of that, we'll have a bigger ecosystem where, in the music industry, where, you know, I can learn from you, you can help me, then we can really help each other. Do you know what I mean? Because us, like, at this level is that, what I always tell people is like, which is sad, is like, and I'm sorry to say this, is like, a lot of the time, a lot of black men that are in the positions to help someone, they don't really want to help. Do you get what I mean? They want to keep that bag to themselves while we're here struggling. But it may seem like they're helping, but they're only helping what benefits them. And then they'll scream that they're helping people. It's all right to do that, but don't scream that you're helping us, because you're not helping us. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that is so frustrating, and that's something that I've had to learn about this music industry and this community aspect, because before I used to think, rah, a lot of people I used to look up to, like, rah, yeah. These men are legit, these men don't give a shit, bro.
Scary, bro. Do you know what the scary thing is that from afar, you look up to them, you get close, and you see how they actually deal with you in real life.
It's mad.
It's crazy and that. And then what it is like, especially when I'm helping young artists, is like, sometimes they lose the motivation, especially the ones that are on roads, like, skills, this is long. And then I feel bad because it's like, I'm not even in a position to help you yet. I'm trying to help myself, but I'm still trying to give you what I can. Do you know what I mean? But the people that are in that position, they don't give a shit. And I can't really tell, man, and when I'm trying to explain it to man, I can't really say bluntly, bro, these men don't give a fuck about you, you know? Because what's that got to do to his self-esteem?
Yeah. That kills Father Christmas.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he may be going back to the road, he may be going back to, you know what I mean, to dotting what he's dotting. Like, do you get what I mean? And that fucks with my mind. Because it's like, right, man wants to help, but man can't help. And the man's got to help myself, the man's got to help this person. And it's like, what do you do? And that's so frustrating when really and truly, if everyone just plays their fucking position, we can help each other. It's like when I was on Clubhouse, do you know what I mean? And shout out to Bouncer and Lillian, do you know what I mean? When people were talking about the drill stuff and they were talking about the community and that. And I was like, you lot are moaning about this every single day. I just had a mad rant. But what are we actually doing? You have resources, I have resources. Let's come together then. When it comes to like banter or to laugh at one another, everyone's there to put LOL. But to help one another, you don't really see anyone. Do you know what I mean? And then I had to learn that the hard way. Like, only a few, some people are, but a lot of people aren't there for the people. But it seems like they're there because they got the tight shirt on Instagram and the shades and that. Do you get what I mean? But for me, I don't really care about that. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm gonna help man regardless, bro. Regardless if I got my shades on or not. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's kind of one of the frustrating things about this industry.
The thing is, it's like, it's hard to that because I know what you're talking about. But is it more of those things where you can't even tell the people that I know you're not really what you say you are. I just have to know that I shouldn't expect nothing from you, because it's gonna be hard to have a conversation with those powerful people and say, my bro, like, you're kind of a fraud, you know.
You get what I mean?
You know what's mad? It's like, especially when you're upcoming, depending on what role you're playing, you gotta play the game. That shit is annoying. Because sometimes I just wanna go, brother, shut the You don't do you know what I mean? But me doing that sometimes, there may be a brand that looks at me and that can affect a producer that I'm managing just because of what I said. Do you get what I mean? And I could potentially ruin a brand deal for, and it's like, you're caught up in this, like, am I being fake? You get caught up in that. Yeah, am I part of this whole, do you know what I mean? It does my head in, it's like, do you know what I mean? But sometimes it's like, yo, you know, dude, do you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like, yo, or sometimes more time I'll call somebody and be like, you don't really do nothing though, bro. Like, you're not really helping, man. You know what I mean? But then sometimes I have to understand, you gotta do the smile, and laugh, because there is people that I'm helping. So I need to get to that position of power where I can help them. So I need to climb my way up.
But do they let people like you through, bro? Because that's the thing. People like you, there's.
I don't know.
Not really, no. People don't really like man, do they? People don't really like man because people don't really. I feel a lot of people don't really like me because I want everyone to be a boss. I want.
So, but why is that an issue?
Pardon?
Why would that be an issue?
I don't know. I feel they don't want people to understand the game.
Because it is a game.
Yeah, it is a game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll have an artist. I won't mind the artist. I have a manager that I might be mentoring. I want him to be bigger than me, because there'll be things that I can learn. There'll be a whole network system that I can benefit from him, where he can benefit from me. And I feel like people, they want them just. I don't know what this thing is like. People just want to be like above people. Like, no, bro. No, bro. Like, there's room for everyone. Like,
Controlling, isn't it?
yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. Not everyone, of course, but there's a lot of people that, like, they don't want them to be more successful than them, where we can all eat. There's a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, while we're busy fighting us, especially us black people, we're busy fighting ourselves. There's people that are other people are looking down at us, laughing.
They're still making the money.
Exactly, using us as puppets. But we won't go and argue with them. We won't argue with ourselves. How does that make any sense? Maybe we could just be elevating each other right now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, me, I don't care, bro, like, who you are. You're a young G or you're older than me. If you're good at something and you're better than me, I'm gonna give you the tools you need. Go and be a boss. I created the instant for your ends or for your people and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? We meet each other on the other side. I gave Tweaker as an example. When Tweaker first came, he was engineering in our studio. He was just an engineer. Do you know what I mean? I saw that the other day. Like, he was telling me he's proud of me. I told him, bro, I'm proud of you. Do you know what I'm saying? He was, do you know what I mean? He was still doing up to no good and whatnot. Now he's got his own studio, S&M Forever. He's doing way more numbers than our studio. I don't look at it like, oh my days, we brought him in. And no, bro. He took the knowledge from us, and now he's empowered his people. And the same people that he's empowered, I can shout him now, like, oh, Trico, you know what? Like, I'm doing that, for example, right now I'm doing a music course. Yo, Trico, can you come down and... He wouldn't be able to come and give information if he was still in the same position, sitting as an engineer in man's studio, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? He won't be able to help the next generation, and that's what it's about. Do you get what I mean? Still making good money. He's still making good money. It hasn't ruined my bag. This whole idea of this is going to ruin my bag, it's not going to ruin your bag. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's where it comes from, really.
Bro, let's talk about some of the good things you got going on with your company. So you're saying you got the music course. What's some of the other things you got going on?
So at the moment, obviously we have the management structure, which we manage artists and producers. We have 3 studios, currently developing another 2. We do a lot of community work, so we're running like music courses for young people that want to get into the music business, giving them knowledge and education about that. We're creating a Drill-lantic tape, which is like a drill tape from US and UK artists that we combine together. A lot of artist development and advice, so we just offer that out for free, really and truly, see if we can help out. We put out records, we've got a record label, we've got an imprint deal as well with Warner ADA, working on another one at the moment as well. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, like, in a nutshell, that's kind of what we're doing. We're getting into the clothing space of things where we're going to be putting our own brand, like selling on clothes. Even though what's funny enough about the clothing is that we actually got taken to court by Tesco. Do you get me? Because F&F clothing, they have F&F, so this took us to court. Do you know what I mean? Because the logos were similar. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, it's a hefty bill. But but yeah, those are the kind of things that and we're just trying to be global. But our main ethos is that as much as how much we win, we give back. So every £20 we make, we give back 5. Do you get what I mean? That's our ethos, because all 3 of us especially, we come from nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we went to the same school, got kicked out of school, like doing GCSEs, got arrested. Like, it's like, we understand where it is coming from, where we come from. Like, everyone deserves the opportunity and everyone can make it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, us getting the #1, it still doesn't feel real. We just want to kind of give that motivation to everyone that anyone can make it.